9 News Plus weather, sponsored by Carrier Colorado. The future of home comfort is here.
Happy Monday. Thanks for joining us here on 9 News Plus. I'm meteorologist Chris Bianchi with a look at your forecast, which this week is going to be pretty tranquil for the most part. We don't have really a whole lot going on, aside from maybe a few mountain snow showers Wednesday night, Thursday morning. Slight chance we get a few flurries here in the Denver area. Otherwise, no real big concerns of which to speak of. Temperatures on the comfortable side, not as cold as last week. Not as cold, certainly, as last Friday when we only topped down the low 20s here in Denver. Nothing like that, but we do have seasonable temperatures, and it won't be exactly all that warm. But then again, it is late November after all. Beautiful view from Lookout Mountain. Lots of blue sunshine. Hard to find a cloud in the sky, and still a little bit of that snowpack left over from Friday's snow, Thursday night, Friday morning snowfall. This part of the metro area picked up as much as, this is where we got about a foot of snow out there in Golden, Lookout Mountain area. This is where, again, we got 10 to 12 inches worth of accumulation. Most of that has already melted on off, and with it, that snow and that cold long gone for us, and temperatures pretty seasonable for this time of the year. Could have a few of those mountain snow showers I mentioned, especially in the mountains on Wednesday, and then it's mostly calm for the week ahead, although it does look rather cool on your Thanksgiving. I don't think it's great for any outdoor Thanksgiving plans, but it does look a bit on the chilly side for us on your Thursday, though not all that bad for this time of year. Again, nothing like last week. HC Doppler radar, quiet, about as quiet as it can get. A few high clouds move in later on tonight and early tomorrow. Those won't give way to anything, and you will hardly notice those clouds as they pass on by. We've got mostly clear skies for the rest of today through tonight and into tomorrow morning. Temperatures already rising on up pretty solidly here on this Monday morning, already up to 46 for us here in Denver. That blue sunshine certainly helping warm up those skies. Greeley, as usual, kind of on the cool side of things. You're in a little bit of a cold pocket there in Greeley, right in between the Cheyenne Ridge and the Palmer Divide. So you kind of a little bit of that little, I don't know, bottom of the pool kind of effect there, where colder air is heavier and denser, so it sinks down into some of these low spots, and Greeley one of them, so 29 for you right now. It'll warm up, though, for friends up in Greeley in the next little while, as those sunny skies will help mix out some of that cold air at the surface. Meantime, 24-hour temperature change. Generally speaking, we're about 1 to 5 degrees warmer than this time yesterday. A few exceptions to that, but for the most part, again, we're a couple degrees warmer than this time yesterday, and it's thanks to a slight wind shift, and that has brought those temperatures on up into the mid-40s already for us here in Denver. We'll get up into the low 50s for us here in Denver. That is exactly where we should be for this time of year. Forecasting high 52, could get up to 53, 54 in a few spots across the metro area. So come 1, 2 o'clock, if you're hoping to take the dog for a stroll or just go outside for a little bit, go for a jog or anything like that, looks a-okay for that with those temperatures. Relatively mild, especially compared to last week. It feels like Maui here with these temps on up in the low to even mid-50s. And again, this temperature map, this is pretty typical for what we would expect for this time of the year. Low to mid-50s, very, very seasonable stuff for us here across the metro area. And then for tonight, temperatures drop back into the mid-20s. It is mostly clear and calm, partly cloudy skies. Southwest winds on the light side at 5 to 10 miles an hour. And that sunset, yeah, 4:38 p.m. Yeah, not much we can do about that, not for a few more weeks. And in fact, we've still got less sunlight to go for the next month or so. That's coming up against the winter solstice, which is slightly over a month away. And once we get to that winter solstice, then those days get gradually longer, and we get those first 5 p.m. sunsets back, by the way, mid-January, January the 16th. Tomorrow, temperatures 53 for us here in Denver, so a tick warmer tomorrow compared to today. Those light southwest winds will again gradually rise up those temperatures as we head through most of the week. We do get that weak system on Wednesday. It'll briefly drop us on down, but for the most part, we'll gradually boosting those temps. 53 for us here in Denver for our day tomorrow, and the mountains 30s and 40s. Now, our next system, this is the one I've been talking about. Still some questions about this because it depends on how far this area low pressure goes. We'll say the computer forecast models seem to be indicating this is going to get a bit further south, which means we should see at least some snow in the mountains, especially the further north you go. So along and north of I-70. We'll have the best chances at seeing some accumulation, but still some pretty big differences in the computer forecast models. For example, here's the American model, the GFS, which shows just a bit of snow, a couple inches for us in the higher terrain along and north of I-70. But notice how this one does bring some snow south of I-70 as well. It's the Palmer Divide and down through the wet mountains and the Sangre de Cristos. Here's a look at the European model, which is mainly into northern Colorado. So still some differences to figure out. And again, it all depends on just how far south our area low pressure goes. That will determine whether or not we're talking about a couple of inches of snow as far south as, say, again, the wet mountains of the Sangre de Cristos, or whether or not we're talking about maybe 1 to 3, 2 to 4 inches of snow along and north of I-70 for the most part. But again, something to watch for. And it's really the only big thing we've got coming up over the next few days, because our Thanksgiving, it is looking sunny for us as we head for the Thanksgiving holiday. So sunny conditions indeed for us, and it's going to be a bit on the cool side, but nothing too crazy about a high. Just 47 for us here in Denver. Again, it's a couple degrees below average, but I think for the most part we'll take it. Come Friday, Saturday, and Sunday, though, it looks pretty mild. Temperatures in the low 60s for us on your Friday, 58 for Saturday, and by Sunday and Monday we'll gradually cool things on down. It does look like we could be a bit more active maybe next week, but in the meantime, this week looking pretty calm and dry. That will unfortunately help melt some of the snowpack. We're right where we should be for this time of year as of today, but we are going to melt off a fair bit of the snowpack, and we'll probably be running a little bit of a deficit. Nothing too crazy about that by the end of the weekend. It's early next week because of the really relative lack of snow that we've got in the forecast. I know we do have that slight snow chance Wednesday night, Thursday morning. It's not going to be a big deal, even if it does drop a little further south. We're looking at maybe a few inches in the higher terrain. That really won't boost the snowpack all that much. We need another good storm, and hopefully next week we'll get something for our friends in the mountains. And here in the Denver area, we're still a little all over the place about next week. We'll worry about this week first, but top line takeaways, fairly mild for the week ahead. A lot of sunshine. Come Wednesday night and Thursday morning, that's when it looks like we could see maybe some mountain snow showers, perhaps a few flurries for us in the Denver area. Not expecting any accumulation at this time. And then otherwise, we're pretty sunny and pretty mild for the most part. Hopefully that's answered all your upcoming weather questions. If not, I'll have an update for you coming up at 9 News at noon and at 2 p.m. here on 9 News Plus. Chief Meteorologist Kathy Sabins in at 4 and 5, and then Meteorologist Lauren Robinson in at 6, 9, and 10 tonight on the 9 News family of networks. Once again, Meteorologist Chris Bianchi, thanks for joining us here on 9 News Plus, and have a great rest of your Monday.